Hello friends, it was March 8, 2014. Malaysian Airlines flight MH370 departed from Kuala Lumpur at 12:42 in the morning. This aircraft was bound towards Beijing. On this trip there were 227 passengers, 10 flight attendants and 2 pilots. 53 years old Captain Zaharie Ahmad Shah is one of the Malaysian Airlines most experienced captain and well qualified. Additionally, First Officer Fariq Hamid, who is 27 years old, was on a training flight. He would have received his full certification as a pilot after successfully completing this training flight. This aircraft spends roughly 20 minutes flying in the right direction. However, at 1:08 a.m. in the morning, these jets soared above the South China Sea after crossing the Malaysian coastline, a direction towards Vietnam. According to Zaharie, this aircraft was flying at 35,000 feet. Everything was going according to plan. The aircraft entered Vietnamese air traffic control around 11 minutes later. Due to this, Kuala Lumpur's air traffic control radios the aircraft with the following message. Captain Zaharie gave a response and said, "Everything seems typical and up to this moment, everything was usual." However, Captain Zaharie Ahmad Shah remarks was the final ones to came out of the aircraft. There were no further updates on this flight. The Malaysian aircraft just vanished. And thus this developed into the world's largest aviation mystery.
Tonight, a Malaysia Airlines flight.
MH370
Flight MH370
disappeared en route to Beijing.
70, we are ready, requesting flight number 310 to Beijing. Malaysian 370.
Flight MH370 ended in the southern Indian Ocean.
This aircraft just vanished off the radar. 1:21 a.m. in the morning was the time. Aircraft controllers in Kuala Lumpur were unaware of this, and when they were, they believed that the plane had entered Vietnamese airspace after flying outside the radar's detection range. There is nothing extraordinary then. On the other hand, the Vietnamese air traffic control observed that the MH370 entered their airspace, but it just vanished off the radar.
They made many attempts to contact their aircraft, but they got no answer. Vietnamese controller told Kuala Lumpur that MH370 has just vanished after attempting repeatedly for 18 minutes. In such cases, the Aeronautical Rescue Coordination Center in Kuala Lumpur ought to have been informed of the plane's disappearance within an hour. But an emergency reaction didn't start until 4 hours had passed. 6:32 in the morning was the time. By this time, the jet was supposed to have touched down in Beijing, but it didn't touch down. The search operation was launched right away. The search for the plane got underway. Looking at the map, Vietnam and the South China Sea are in the center of the flight from Malaysia to Beijing. Therefore, it goes without saying that the hunt for the plane started in the South China Sea. An international search effort was conducted in this case. That morning, 34 ships and 28 aircrafts from 7 different nations searched for this plane. However, there was no sign of the aircraft, roughly 4 days. Later on March 12, it was revealed that despite the jet was having vanished from the public radar, but a military radar had seen it in the evening. According to the military radar, 2:22 a.m. in the morning, it wasn't, however, situated above the South China Sea. It was more precisely close to the Andaman and Nicobar Islands, above the Strait of Malacca, heading west from Malaysia, and the aircraft was flying north towards the Andaman and Nicobar Islands. Based on the readings from the military radar, it was opposite direction from Beijing. Everyone was curious to hear this news. Where did the aircraft go on? Did it travel towards India before crashing in Kazakhstan or the Himalayas? A second piece of evidence was found a few more days later, data from satellite. It discovered that the aircraft was making an automated attempt to contact a satellite. It is actually rather typical for the massive aircraft such as Boeing 777. They frequently try to get in touch with the satellites to build a communication between them. It is identical to your phone. Automatically attempting to connect to our Wi-Fi, it's comparable. This issue, however, was that when this jet sought to connect to a satellite, it was actually only tried to log in. Regarding the plane's position, no information was transmitted, the satellite was simply understood.
Nothing else regarding the location of the plane was communicated despite the plane's attempts. But some researchers and experts considered using this to guess where was the plane. They believed that the satellite would have shifted its antenna in the direction of the airliner after receiving the signals. So they measured the angle of the satellite's antenna, made calculation based on this, and approximated the plane's location. As I previously stated, the satellite couldn't pinpoint the precise location. but it could be used to predict a location. When it attempted to contact the satellite, 7 attempts were made by the aircraft to connect with the satellite.